Hello, I'm Nelson Bird coming to you from northwest Saskatchewan on a somewhat chilly day. This is Big Buffalo Lake and it's close to where we begin our journey. We'll visit a few communities and show you what life is like for those who live here. Our adventure begins right after this. Buffalo Narrows, a community of over 1,000 people, is located between two beautiful lakes and is one of the oldest portage sites in Saskatchewan.
This one's going out to Megan coming from Grandma and Grandpa.
CIBN Buffalo Narrows is on the air. The local radio station provides a number of services for the community, including high-def cable TV and bingo every Wednesday. The radio station employs local residents and offers a wide variety of cultural, musical, and informative programs.
We get out information, music, and just basically anything that anybody needs to advertise and all that good stuff, of course.
Buffalo Narrows is situated between Peter Pond and the Churchill Lakes. The name derived from when buffalo roamed the country and crossed the lakes on the Narrows. The town is considered one of the province's oldest communities, as the first homestead was built in 1895. Buffalo Narrows is a diverse community made up of Métis, First Nation, and people of European backgrounds. A number of small businesses provide services to the residents, and some of the more popular employment comes from mining, forest harvesting, and commercial fishing. Overall, Buffalo Narrows is considered the government and service center for northwest Saskatchewan.
Well, I think we've got a wonderful town here. It's full of people that are very welcoming, and like to see people come to our community. And we're building here to hopefully bring new prospects to town in terms of business and other industry where we invite to come to our community now.
Well, as you've just seen, Buffalo Narrows is a vibrant, forward-thinking community, but sometimes people need that extra boost to help them achieve their goals.
Kenneth Bouvier and Quentin Taylor feel right at home working on a Bobcat motor. They aren't professional mechanics, but they soon will be. They are taking the heavy-duty mechanics course at Northlands College.
I want to get something like a career to fall back on in the future.
It's good. I like it. Lots of opportunities, lots of work.
Northlands College is located on the western edge of Buffalo Narrows. This building is one of 3 campuses. Others are located in La Ronge and Creighton, and they all have the same mission: to maximize training and education opportunities. The Buffalo Narrows campus offers a number of classes.
We've been offering adult education programs right from the basic education to skill and vocational technical type of training and trades as well.
And students don't necessarily have to take classes here. If they can't go to the course comes to them.
But we do offer a number of programs off campus as well. We offer such things as short order cook in Kenneau Lake that's happening right now, GED Adult 12 program in Green Lake.
Down the hall, more than a dozen students are taking a pre-trade course.
It's a course designed to prepare students to challenge the trade entrance exam in Alberta.
Renelle Sylvester is using pre-trades as a way to better her future.
Try something different, get in a different part of the working force. I've always been in other places like South work jobs, just something to make more money,
Distance between communities can sometimes be a problem in the north, especially for students. But here at the Northlands College, students have a place to call home.
Currently we do have housing for students, up to 36 that we can house in our student residence, and it's mainly for individuals that do attend on campus here in Buffalo Narrows.
This is Bouvier's home away from home, at least for 5 days a week.
It's great. It's a nice place, yeah. Food is great, and people are really good and friendly. Get to know people, and they can become a family and all that. So it's really good.
The residents who live here are rarely bored. Between classes, there is ping pong, foosball, and more. Northlands is not just about training and education. They want every student to leave here with a permanent job in place. Dano has seen many success stories.
Thinking of one individual that started off with upgrading in the 8-10 level and then moving on to the adult 12 and then eventually taking on an LPN program and now is successful, has a career.
And nearly every student is already planning their future.
Hopefully get a job in the mine. That's what I want to do right now. And after that, we'll see what happens. Maybe open a business.
Get a good job and something to fall back on in the future and make a decent wage at the same time.
First Nation and Métis people make up more than 90% of the enrollment at Northlands, and over the years, hundreds have graduated and are now major contributors to the Saskatchewan economy, making a better life for themselves and their families.
Our northern truck takes us from Buffalo Narrows to Isle of Cross right after these important messages. More than 1,500 people live in the town of Isle of Cross, and it is rich in history. This frozen lake is part of the Churchill River system that voyagers and fur traders once used. Here now is more on Isle of Cross.
It is considered the national winter pastime, ice skating. And for these kids in Isle of Cross, it's the best way to pass the time. They love living here, but what makes them love it?
What do you like about living in Isle of Cross?
Playing hockey, swimming. I like boating on ice.
Playing hockey,
Hunting.
hockey, swimming.
Isle of Cross is located 5 hours northwest of Saskatoon. Its Cree name is Agecoutay, which means where the rivers meet. The Cree word is a literal description because the town is surrounded by the Churchill River system, and the population is mostly Métis.
Basically, we are the second oldest community in Saskatchewan, next to Cumberland House. You know, Isle of Cross has been, you know, in recorded history for 234 years. You know, and we don't know how far back, you know, we go back with our First Nations relatives.
Michif is widely spoken here. It's an original Métis language made up of Cree and French. Louis Riel has roots here. His father was born in the town, and his sister is buried near the church. In past days, like most Aboriginal communities, the church strictly administered all aspects, everything from the school to the hospital. Today, people are free to voice their thoughts. The local radio station offers employment and provides information, music, and more.
We provide radio and cable service in our community, and we do have a 37-channel analog service that we're offering right now, but we will be moving into the digital phase.
Reviving and preserving Métis culture is one of the town's goals. Many feel they are slowly losing their culture, but the school principal wants to bring it back.
We're losing especially our language and the traditional way of life, so we're trying to reteach some of those things within our culture.
We certainly, you know, want to continue to teach our students, you know, the dances, you know, the Métis jigs, the square dancing.
John Arcand is doing his part to preserve the culture the best way he knows how, teaching fiddle. He comes up every few weeks and teaches students the basics, and like most here, he loves it.
Oh, I've been treated like a king there, actually. Yeah, all the people are really friendly. Other than that, it's just like going home.
That's been a blessing for us because John has worked with us for 3 years now.
But Isle of Cross is not just about culture. It is a thriving community where economic development is rapidly growing.
We're with the times. It's the 21st century, so we are moving in that direction.
Those who live here want everyone to experience Isle of Cross for its natural beauty. There's always something to do here, whether it's fishing, hunting, trapping, driving on the ice roads, or something as simple as skating on a school night.
150 years ago, Isle of Cross's first school and hospital opened by the Grey Nuns of St. Boniface. Just over 2 years ago, this combined school, hospital, and community center opened and is unlike any other.
It's big, it's bright, and it's yellow. This building is meant to resemble the sunrise over the lake, but what it really is Isle of Cross's new integrated facility.
In the boat in South Bay, you can see it, just bright yellow, and I'm sure the airplanes can see it from Saskatoon.
At a cost of over $33 million, the building marks the beginning of a new era for the town and surrounding communities. In a way, it's a one-stop shop, combining health and education. On one end of the building, there is a hospital with a state-of-the-art technology. On the other end, there is a well-structured high school.
It's a lot bigger than the one little hallway we had before.
The healthcare section of the building has an 11-bed acute care unit. It also has an emergency department complete with an ambulance which is always on call. There is also a radiology room and labs for patients. In another wing, there is a 17-bed long-term care for the elderly. Near the front door, there is a daycare where staff and community members drop their kids off daily.
I guess it's the extended family concept, where we have right from infants to the long-term care, it houses our elders. So a good portion of our community, coming in and out of this building every day, and I think, that's exciting.
But it wasn't always like this. In the past, various buildings were used for medical care until the construction of a hospital in 1927. This was later replaced by St. Joseph's Hospital in 1958. At the time, most Aboriginal community hospitals were run by the church. Many years later, the town of Isla Crosse welcomed their new hospital.
As a community, we're certainly very proud of this facility.
On the second floor, there is a public health clinic. The Kuwaitan Yathi office provides dozens of services, everything from counseling to mental health treatment, all available to the people of the area. First Nation and Métis make up most of the population, so it makes sense to offer holistic healing, complete with a room for talking circles. There is always a strong focus on bridging gaps, and this building provides the perfect opportunity to do so.
We just started today our reading program, and our grade 9s are going to the elders to read to them. So those types of things as well.
This gymnasium actually makes up a small part of the integrated service center. The entire floor space of this building equally measures up to 2 football fields.
I think a lot of the kids too, they couldn't wait to get in here, and probably some of the staff as well.
This is a time-lapse video that shows the building going up from when construction first began in 2005 to its completion in 2007.
We certainly did a lot of discussion and dialogue with not only the region, but with community members as well in terms of the layout of the facility and the types of programming that we would offer from this facility. And certainly the students had their say, and I think, when it comes to things like the color of the building.
The new Rossignol Community High School holds more than 100 students, and they love their new surroundings. But a few students question the color.
It reminds me of that song about the submarine. It was like the first thing I thought about. I was like, yeah, big yellow school, everybody knows where we are now.
And with the lake being the school's backyard, it's no wonder students agree with the location of the school.
All the way across to the front of the point over here and back again. Lead the way, please.
On this day, the youth are enjoying a day out on the ice. Here, gym class consists of cross-country skiing.
Certainly help and support our students in terms of outdoor programming. The possibilities are endless, being that we're set by a lake in northern Saskatchewan.
We talked about wilderness school, and that's why we go take the kids snaring and whatnot and try and utilize that.
And like any well-equipped high school, there are a variety of tight-knit classes available.
We actually have biology and chemistry labs where we can do a lot of more experiments than we did before. And there's more classroom space than what we had before.
Students come from the community itself, while others are bussed in from neighboring areas. Much of their time is spent in the gymnasium, which comes complete with everything a gym needs, along with courtside seating and a stage that opens 3 ways.
We held our Christmas feast and just different Métis or Michif language festival every year.
Besides a school and a hospital, there is an employment center where future grads can get help finding a good job.
Having the entire community under one roof is a very unique concept, and certainly we look forward to the endless possibilities that it brings.
The building itself has become a role model, and people are taking notice.
I've had a few calls from other parts of Canada. We quite freely share our experience with them as well.
It's also a perfect template for those who want to see improvements in the way healthcare and education is provided. It's already improving for these students. They frequently host tournaments and invite schools from across the province.
It comes down to people, dedicated staff doing what they're supposed to do in the classrooms and the kids responding to that.
The future looks bright for the people who live and work here. Perhaps best summed up by the music class where creativity and dedication will pay off for years to come.
Margaret Reynolds lives and breathes her Dene culture. Coming up, we'll meet her as we head from Isla Crosse and go a little further south. Beauval, which you can see in the distance, translates from French into beautiful valley. It's about an hour south of Agecoutay, and like many northern communities, it is rich in both culture and history. Beauval is a picturesque town that sits on the hills overlooking the Beaver River Valley. The town has a population of about 750 people and is made up of mostly Métis, Cree, and other cultures. Like most northern towns, the area's main industries are ecotourism, mining, and trapping and fishing. Historically, the town, like most in the area, was largely influenced by the church. The Valley View High School also has won numerous awards and trophies in province-wide competitions. Hockey, curling, baseball, and volleyball are some of the town's more popular sports.
I think being a smaller community is one of the bigger attractions. You get a lot of local people that go out and get their schooling, education, and coming back to the community.
The English River First Nation is part of Treaty 10 area, and part of the reserve is located here just east of Beauval. And as Creeson and Agecoutay found out, a very special woman lives here.
4 days a week, Margaret Reynolds shares her knowledge and wisdom with the children of English River First Nation, her home reserve. On this day, she is teaching her first language, Dene. Margaret embraces her culture, and it shows in the way she interacts with children. Her goal is to help them find their true self-identity, and that's what keeps her going at full force.
When I teach them about their culture and who they are, their identity, they're proud to be Dene, they're proud to be Cree, they're proud of who they really are.
Teaching isn't new to Margaret. Years earlier, she taught Dene at the First Nations University in Saskatoon. In a way, she's come full circle, from big city life to a small classroom back at home.
When I'm teaching the children here, it's just fun. I love it because the children are more willing to learn the language, and it's something that I probably will do as long as I can.
English River is a part of Treaty 10 area. The reserve itself is actually made up of 7 separate communities. This area is called La Plonge, and it's where Margaret lives and teaches. The small school is called Mission Hill and is located close to where a residential school once stood. All that's left of the boarding school is a monument with the names of children who perished there. Margaret Reynolds was one of hundreds of children who was sent to the school against their will.
Coming from a big family and then being separated like that was very, heartbreaking, and it used to be sad to have to see one another between the fences.
They may not know it or understand it, but the kids in this room have a connection to residential schools. Their parents or grandparents likely attended one. Margaret sometimes talks to them about that, reminiscing about her days when language was taken for granted at home, but outlawed in school.
My mother spoke 4 languages and my dad spoke 3 languages. But the children, as brothers and sisters, we just spoke Dene all the time. As soon as we walk in the door, even from residential school, we spoke Dene. We just left our English at the door. In school, we weren't allowed. We got hit if we spoke. Many times, my brothers and sisters would get hit behind the head because they spoke their language.
But summertime was a different story. It meant going home where Dene was spoken freely and kids got to be kids.
And that was a lot of fun back then. And there was a big beach there where we used to swim, and just outside the door from our house was a big patch of raspberries. And the only, in the morning we would just go and pick a bowl full of raspberries for breakfast. And it was fun living there.
The fun continues for Margaret. She takes joy from sharing her gifts, and it's not only language, it's arts and crafts as well.
Margaret Reynolds' creativity is not confined to the classroom. Her inspiration is homegrown.
Spare time for Margaret is made up of designing and making fashions. She's also an artist, and she even finds time to write stories and poetry, all in the comfort of her own home. Her creativity stems from her life experiences. Her work incorporates everything from eagle feather carriers to traditional and contemporary native outfits. She's made a business out of it, and it's called NAU, which means mother's clothing in Dene.
I've done from wedding dresses to regalias for fancy dancing, and I make the jingle dresses, and so all walks of life for many different people, and it's just fun for me to do it because it relaxes me, it gives me creativity, it makes my mind to work.
Margaret's writing career resulted in a few published books. Some of them are First Nation myths and legends, while others are instructional books on the Dene language. Regardless of the subject, it is important to note all of her teachings were handed down to her from her parents and grandparents.
Many of them that I have written are from her and my mother that I try to, just carry on to so that the children of today will be able to remember.
She still travels the province sharing them, like at this literacy gathering last year in Saskatoon. Back at home, she is surrounded by her life's accomplishments. Her story is reflected on the walls around her, including this prayer which she follows and lives by. She feels everyone should make an effort to live by these words.
You can go anywhere in this turtle island.
On a deeper and more spiritual level, she will often take time to help people find more about themselves. Her method reveals a person's traits, color, and animal spirit guide. Margaret Reynolds' deep-rooted spirituality will live on. She has no immediate plans to slow down, and she wants people to hear her messages, especially the youth. She sees how First Nations culture is slowly eroding due to fast-paced lifestyles and negative influences. She has these words for today's youth.
The element that when I teach children, when you look at your face, there are the 4 elements. Your eye is the water, and your nose is the air. Your ears are the fire of how your emotions and your mental part of you. And the most important part is your voice and your mouth. Because everything that you put in your mouth comes from the earth. And if their home is unhealthy, then children will either go that way or they'll say, I don't want to be the way that I grew up. So I think many times the excuses they make, the young people, they'll say, because I grew up like this, or my parents did this, or my father was like this. They make excuses. They don't need to do that. You don't need to make excuses to be able to live a good, healthy lifestyle.
But, on a lighter note, she wants people to enjoy life and laugh often.
Right, yeah, full of poop. Yeah.
For Indigenous Circle, I'm Creeson and Agecoutay on the English River First Nation.
Well, the road is now behind us. I hope you enjoyed our look at Saskatchewan's north. Thanks for watching. Good night.